Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Weir. I work at UCL in the Innovation and Enterprise Department as the Senior Programme Officer for Entrepreneurship. We're here today to talk to you about our SPERO programme and how we provide hope for the future. I want to take you back to the year 2017 BC. No, I'm not talking 4,000 years ago. I'm talking before COVID. Our Director of Entrepreneurship, Jerry Allen, was sitting in our startup hatchery chatting to a group of 12 startup founders. And it came to light that of the 12 founders, 9 of them were UCL PhD students, 75%. And that got his cogs whirring. That's a huge proportion. How can we support these people? I want to take a step back and tell you a little bit about the fate of a PhD student. I myself was one from 09 to 13. This study from the Royal Society is a little dated. It's from 2010, and it's just based on science subjects. So it might not apply across the board for all doctoral students, for all disciplines. However, it's a really interesting study to pick apart. They found that after their PhDs, 53% of students left for a career outside of science. Those that stayed, a proportion then went on to work in research outside of academia, maybe in industry or in government. Very small percentages made it through to be permanent research staff. Even fewer, less than 0.5% of PhD students in science make it through to professorship level. These are stark data. PhD students might go into their PhD with the intention of staying in academia. However, the reality is that there are not the number of jobs to support that, and they are more than likely to find themselves in jobs outside of academia, and we need to equip them with the skills, the tool set, the knowledge, the confidence to excel outside of academia. So the question we wanted to answer was, how can we at UCL Innovation and Enterprise best support this population of doctoral students, of which there's over 5,500 at UCL? How can we best support them along their entrepreneurial journey? How can we use entrepreneurship to promote their career trajectory wherever they end up, whether that is industry, academia, government, wherever? We came up with SPERO. It's a series of 3 experiential workshops to build the entrepreneurial mindset of doctoral students. These are accredited workshops by our doctoral school. The students gain points, doctoral school points, for attending and completing the workshops. All students need to complete a number of, or gain a number of points to graduate for their doctoral degree. And it's a mixture, the whole premise of the program, each 3 of the workshops is a mixture of didactic teaching, discussion groups in the large format, and then small group activities to develop their ideas. In the first level of workshops, students learn how to set personal and professional goals. They learn how to identify stakeholders and apply entrepreneurial thinking to their academic research, among other skill sets. The next level, level 2, we really hone in on identifying different revenue models, customer segments, how we can create value for the world around us, and we introduce the business model hypothesis. At the later level, at the 3rd level of workshop, really get into the nitty-gritty of what it's like to found a startup. We asked them to develop hypothetical profit and loss sheets They participate in a role play pitch to investors, often role played in a difficult, really tense negotiation. They do phenomenally well in that under pressure. And they can write co-founder agreements, as well as many, many other things along that journey. I'm pleased to report that we have grown the number of attendees year on year by 66%. SPERO has only been running for these 2 years, so this growth is absolutely phenomenal. These are the numbers reported here are unique students. So this just captures students that came to individual students that came to at least one workshop. This does not count students, and many do come to the whole series of the 3 workshops, maybe just 2 workshops. It's important to note that we proportionally attract students across the UCL university. The graph on the left-hand side depicts the general population of postgraduate research students at UCL, and on the right-hand side is a breakdown of our SPERO attendees by UCL school. As you can see, we have a very close match to the general population, although I will say we might do a little bit better at attracting students from SLASH, which is the arts, humanities, law, and it's something we're working on. I said that 66% increase. That is, again, across all UCL schools and across all faculties, something we are extremely, extremely proud of and will strive to continue this success. However, data is just one part of the story. So next I want to tell you the story of Shanil Malik, one of our attendees, a PhD student in the Bartlett School of Architecture at UCL. Her startup is called Indus. She identified a problem in the textile industry in developing nations. The wastewater and runoff from this industry is highly toxic. It's full of heavy metals, chemicals, toxic chemicals. So Shanil came up with a solution. Not only is it beautiful, it tackles that heavy metal problem. What it is a clay framework that's filled with an algae-infused hydrogel. That algae eats the heavy metals and pollutants out of the runoff wastewater, leaving a much cleaner byproduct out of the industry. This has huge environmental benefits and impact for these nations. We are immensely proud of the work she's doing. Just earlier this year, she spoke to an audience of over 6,000 people at a TEDx conference. Feedback is really important to us at SPERO. I've got a 97% return rate on feedback forms. It's how we grow, it's how we learn, both from positive and from negative feedback. However, I will highlight that 99% of our attendees would recommend the SPERO course to their peers. On the left-hand side of this slide, I've got a handful of testimonials that I'll just leave 5 seconds for you to have a read of. So where are we going? What's next for SPERO? We've achieved great things and we want to achieve more. Our bold ambition is to reach 50% of the UCL doctoral community. If you remember from earlier in the talk, I said that's 5,700 students. It's one of the largest doctoral communities in the nation. To do this, we want to develop an asynchronous content that can be accessed 24/7 around the world. We want to form partnerships. We've got a project with the University of Manchester for a longitudinal study looking at 2 simultaneously running programs to look at the long-term impact of what we're offering. Thank you for listening, and I will now take any questions. Please don't hesitate to get in contact with me at any point.